Welcome to the Fantasy Thinker. I'm Jared Quartermatch, and today we are doing a book review for The Satanic Verses by Salman Rushdie. Uh, this book was quite a trip, I gotta say. In this book here, we are given this epic tale of two men on opposite sides of the same coin. This is the tale of Gabriel and Saladin, two men whose lives are intertwined in quite a fantastic way. Um, like part of the theme of this book is how elastic and ephemeral names can be and how they can vary depending upon your status and where you call home. And this is, correlated various times throughout the book with the personas that each man takes on in their role of angel and demon and immigrant. Um, in the case of angel and demon, of course, that is the angel Gabriel and Shaitan, or Satan, if you will. Um, and they do not willingly take on these roles. And at times, you often wonder if they're kind of having some kind of shared hallucination or something like that. And this is the feel of like magic realism that Rushdie taps into. Is it real or is it all in their heads? And, part of the premise of these characters is that they are living today, but also kind of living simultaneously in the past. So Rushdie breaks up the novel into like nine smaller books where he uses each section to detail a certain story that is either happening now or happened at some other point in history, but is thematically tied into what Gabriel and Saladin are going through. And so the stories are told one after the other in kind of this like Arabian Nights fashion, which is even hinted at with one of the story titles, which is called A Wonderful Lamp, and like Aladdin and the Magical Lamp. But so Rushdie gives us all these hints about other literature in the past, including the Arabian Nights and of course the Quran and stories from the Bible and stuff like that. And so this kind of sectional storytelling leads to a really wonderfully touching conclusion that like puts character growth and the human condition like just front and center, that really feels epic but deeply personal all at the same time. Rushdie uses this stream of consciousness style of writing. He kind of piles words on top of each other in a rush of energy to try to get across the chaos of the situations that the characters that the characters are in. And it takes a little bit of getting used to when you first start the book, but once you get used to it, it really flows. It kind of reminded me of the Jack Kerouac kind of style and On the Road, but a bit more modern. 1990 modern maybe, and really well done. His choice is. His word choice is fantastic. He has an excellent vocabulary that really shows through in the writing. So most of the action in the book takes place in London, but I shouldn't say most, a majority maybe. There's a lot of action in India, in the Middle East as well. That kind of reflects Rushdie's own split life as well. He was born in India, and but he has lived a lot in England and I think the United States as well. Um, but almost every page in this, 500 page book really drips with deep sociological, psychological, and philosophical insight and commentary. The plight of the immigrant is a deeply theorized condition in this story, and both Gabriel and Saladin are from India and living in London, yet they have these completely opposite experiences almost. So Rushdie plays with that contrast to build the characters' understanding of what's going on with them and how other people react to them. So it's really deep and really involved. There are instances in the narrative where One theme is that the hero is permitted to fail as part of the story. And in the book, Saladin's father points this out to him as the difference between Western and Indian epics. And uh, this internal battle of Indian and Western ideas continues throughout the whole narrative for both Saladin and Gabriel as they struggle to fit in with a culture that they were not born to. Um, and another theme running through the pages is the idea that the immigrant is not even human and is in fact something other. And this is kind of reflected in the supernatural representations of the characters, the angel and devil. Um, and their transformations at one point in the book, real or imagined. You got to kind of figure that out for yourself. But that is reflective of their status in the society they're in London. Really fascinating how he puts that together and just really makes you think about, wow, is this really happening or is it all in their heads? And you never really get a clear answer. It's up to you to figure that out for yourself. Um, we also like we further delve down the rabbit hole of relative persona to like existential meandering with some lines like the one I'm quoting here. Um, Fictions were walking around wherever he went. Fictions masquerading as real human beings. So that kind of uh, language that's in there that really makes you think. It's very philosophical, and this theme of identity is tied into immigration as well. There's questions brought up. There are things like how does the past inform the present, and what do we take from the past with us into our present situations? So, Rushdie really excels in presenting these conflicting realities and seeking what the mind is capable of. So the dissociation of the conflicting selves of the characters jostling and joggling within these bags of skin, basically, is how he states it in the book. So that was, very descriptive, very visceral. Um, and he says, no wonder we've invented the remote control. And that's kind of like his apt comparison of the human psyche with channel hopping. So I thought that was hilarious. So there's a lot of great little snippets like that in the book that really make it enjoyable to read at some points. And yeah, there's all that in the book and more. There really is this kind of like endless stream of thematic juggling going on in this book, and it's really great. You know, let's show you this again, just because I haven't seen it in a while. uh, and also, I want to get to the elephant in the room. No, not you. um, there are a couple of sections in this book dealing with the story of Mahound. This is the name that Rushdie used in place of the Prophet Muhammad. So basically, and this is a little bit spoiler here, but I think you'll be okay. Um, but you need to know this. So Mahound is getting words from the angel Gabriel, which Gabriel is living through in the present. Yeah, it's magically crazy stuff, right? So with Mahound is a scribe named, cheekily enough, Baal. Um, and it's a play on the old, I think, Babylonian god Baal. He's supposed to be an evil god-like demon or something like that. But anyways, the character Baal is writing down everything that Mahound states and that the angel reveals to him. But Baal is a bit of a skeptic and doesn't really like what's going on around here in his his hometown, and so he kind of starts changing the words of what Mahound says, and nobody notices, not even Mahound or Muhammad. And it gets a little more complex, but that's a gist of it, really, and that's it. So Salman Rushdie stated in a fictional novel that the Quran is not actually the words of the angel Gabriel, but rather an altered version of an impish scribe. And so, for this so-called crime, he was subjected to several assassination attempts and death threats, including a fatwa calling for his death issued by Khomeini, the supreme leader of Iran. Um, and of course, I had heard about this fatwa a long time ago, and at the time, I didn't really know who Rushdie was, so I didn't really think about it that much, and I didn't. It was kind of ridiculous, anyways. That in my viewpoint. But now that I've actually read the offending text, um, ridiculous doesn't even begin to describe how I feel about this. I'm rather outraged, really. The passages in this book are so innocuous and so obviously used for entertainment and storytelling. It's sarcasm, it's witticism, it's parody, it's social commentary. It nearly makes me cry that a truly moving story that invites the reader to think so deeply about the human condition and all the topics that I brought up earlier could be the subject of banning and death threats. It is such a damn shame. Um, I've read a book of Rushdie's selected essays called Languages of Truth that came out like in 2021. And I found his language and thoughts delightful in some cases in those essays and a little infuriating in others. I didn't agree with his take on Tolkien and epic fantasy in general, but I appreciated his views on writing and its importance. And I always meant to read this book, but I never got around to it. And a couple of months ago, my brother kind of shoved it in my hands. And in light of the event that led to his more recent stabbing, I felt a need to see why someone would be motivated to want to kill him. Um, so I read the book, and I still don't get it. I don't get this zeal, this fervor, this need to actually kill someone for such a weak minded, cowardly reason as you offended my sense of what the world should be. You said something I don't like, so you must die. That just disgusts me. So that's my rant, against that kind of fanaticism. I hate it. Um, I would hope anybody watching this would hate it too. Fanaticism is not, uh, it's not a pleasant thing. Um, so enough on that. Um, well, maybe, okay, one more thing. The character of Bao sums it up quite succinctly, actually, in the book. Um, Whores and writers, Mahound. We are the people you can't forgive. Mahound replied. Writers and whores. I see no difference here. And that's so profound and so relevant to the narrow-minded thinking that goes into that kind of fanaticism. Um, why do we need to forgive anything when there is really nothing to forgive? Um, so that's my rant on that subject. And before that was all that stuff I said about this book and the themes that run through it. Is my review of this book. If you like that kind of magical realism where the boundaries between what is real and what is uh, you know maybe not real are blurred, and you like a lot of philosophical themes and societal themes, sociological themes, then this is the book for you. And I'd highly recommend it. I enjoyed reading it, and probably will pick up another Rushdie work in the future sometime. All right, so thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Please be good to each other. And